back to another week and another video. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name's Lexi, and on my channel, I like to teach you how to live a happier and healthier lifestyle. Today, we are learning how to squat. If you have been trying to get into strength training and you feel a little overwhelmed or unsure as to how to perform some of the compound movements correctly or in good form, then this is the video for you. Today, I will be breaking down the squat in a simple form so that you feel comfortable hopping into the barbell back squat on your own. If you like movement videos like these, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button and let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you want to see next. And without talking about it too much, we're gonna hop right into the video. If you peep some of the bikes in the background, that's because I'm coming at you from the Cycle Sanctuary today. When we are setting up first, we want to make sure that the bar and our clips are set up to an appropriate height. A lot of times we look at the bar to see if it's in a good relation to our height, but we actually want to be looking at the clips. And clips can vary from rack to rack. So we're always going to look at the top part of the clip. This is the furthest point that you'll have to bring the bar up and out of the rack. So we want to make sure we're set up at the right height according to the highest part of the clip. So I'm going to take my bar out of the rack here so that I can set my clips up, and I'm going to look at where the clip is in relation to my shoulder. So again, looking at the top highest point of the clip, this clip is way above my shoulder, so this is actually not going to be a good spot for me. I will have to come up to my tippy toes just to get the bar out of the rack. You should never have to come up onto your tippy toes to unrack the bar from the rack, the rig. If you have to come up to your toes and your feet are not flat on the floor, the clips need to be moved lower. You always rather have the clips a notch too low versus a notch too high. I want that clip to be right about in the middle of my shoulder, give or take. Again, this is gonna differ based on rig and clip, and you might have to find the perfect spot by trying out a few times. So I'm gonna move down just one. This seems a lot better, but also I know that as the bar gets heavier, I'm going to naturally just start to be a little bit more crunched down or forward leaning, meaning now I probably have to come up to my tippy toes. So looking at this is probably as a notch slightly too high for me, again, for my personal preference, or if I start to go heavy. I'm gonna move down one more. Now that clip is right about in the middle of my shoulder, maybe just a notch lower, but again, you would rather the clips be slightly too low than too high. We also want to make sure that we are walking out of the rig correctly. So when you are unracking your barbell, you should always be walking backwards. That way we can walk directly straight back into the rig once we've completed the movement. If I was racking correctly, I would want to face the wall to get into my squat position. I don't want to find my hand on the bar and walk out of the rig in this direction. And the reason for this is, when you're tired and that bar is heavy, how the heck are you making it back to that rig? Because you're probably gonna do stuff like this. You're looking, trying to make sure you're in the right position. It is a safety issue, so do not walk backwards into the rig to re-rack your weight. It's a lot easier to re-rack the weight when all you have to do, I don't even have to look. I walk straight into the rack, and then the bar goes right into the clips. Always make sure that you're always walking out of the rack or the rig the appropriate way. I understand it can get a little overwhelming and confusing when you have multiple different people potentially telling you multiple different things. Before we go into form and what your squat should look like, please be reminded that there is no one size fits all for how your feet, your hands, or your body is going to look in the movement. There are clear things that will be right and clear things that will be wrong in terms of form and making sure that we're completing the movement correctly. But where our feet are positioned, where our hands are positioned, where the bar is positioned on our back, with and among many other things, a lot of those things can change depending on your anatomy, your stature, your range of motion, your flexibility. Do not get married to a set foot placement or hand placement, and just be open to finding what works optimally for you. Starting off, we need to get the bar on our back. Like I said, we are unracking the bar from the rig, walking backwards. I'm going to set my hands on the bar to start We want to have our hands relatively tight. We don't want our arms all the way on the outside, kind of like chilling out here on the barbell. Getting those hands closer is probably going to be challenging if you lack any type of flexibility or mobility in the upper body. So again, we're finding a hand placement that allows you to be comfortable with the bar on the back. Finding my grip on the bar here, I'm going to make sure to wrap the thumbs. Always wrap your thumbs, please. Next, I'm going to get up underneath the bar, so I've got to move that ponytail out of the way. I'm going to find a nice comfortable spot. I don't want you to put the bar on your neck or your spine. That's not going to feel good. You can go slightly below on top of those traps. I personally like my bar even a little bit lower. So for me, this is where I feel comfortable. Find a spot that feels comfortable for you. If you unrack the bar and it's not comfortable, walk directly back in, restart the whole process, and make sure that you start the set having the bar in a comfortable place on your back. You do not want to go throughout the set worried about how it feels uncomfortable on your neck. Getting my grip on the bar, placing the bar on a comfortable spot in my back, doing my nice ponytail flip. And then from here, we are going to stand directly up from this position. So with my feet, I am going to want to be in a split stance. You can find the split stance however you're comfortable. We're just trying to get the feet in some sort of split stance so that it makes it easy to step back in one direction. I'm going to wedge myself a little bit up underneath the bar so that all I have to do is stand straight up. Once I stand straight up, I'm making sure I have my balance, and then I'm gonna take about 3 steps back and to the side. So 1 step back, 1 step to the side, and then my last step is just to make sure that my feet are in the position that I want them to be in. One of the reasons why you always want to make sure that you're in that split stance and your feet aren't already in your squat stance is what happens then when you go to take your step back is you completely shift your body to one side, and you want to be able to walk directly back. Because once you start to put weights on here, if you shift to the side to unrack, your plate is hitting the clip, and if you're going into a heavy set, I guarantee you that screws up the mental aspect of it. You want to make sure that you're really taking the time to set yourself up. Have this checklist that you go through to make sure that you're preparing effectively for your lift. Because if you rush through the prep process and you don't set yourself up correctly, it could potentially interfere with the actual set itself and how well you're able to perform that set. You really don't want to overthink the squat too much. Essentially, I just want you to think about squatting. While you're thinking about squatting, we're going to be thinking about keeping the upper body really nice and tight and engaged, because we don't want this to start to happen in our squat when we have a bar loaded on the back. We want to think about keeping the core really nice and tight and engaged as well. That's going to help us a lot coming out of the bottom of our squat. We also want to make sure that our knees are tracing out over the pinky toes. This is going to allow you to use your glutes a little bit more. When you push those knees out, you might even feel the glutes a little bit more engaged as well. That is good. When the knees start to cave in, that is an indication that either maybe you're going too low for what a range of motion is appropriate for you right now. Maybe the weight is too heavy. Maybe you're too fatigued. That is where you would want to kind of pause and evaluate, should I do another rep? Do I just need to mentally drive the knees out? We always want to make sure that we are pushing evenly throughout our feet on the way up and keeping that weight evenly distributed along the bottom of our foot. I like to use the tripod example. If you're looking at the bottom of your foot, we are counting 3 points. The camera's kind of high, so I'm gonna have to do a nice little leg lift here for you. But we got 1, 2, 3 points, and we are always thinking about keeping that weight evenly distributed along those 3 points. Paying attention, do the feet start to cave into the middle 2 points? Do the feet come out to the outer 2 points, the front 2 points, the back points? That is something that you always want to use as a reference to know where your form is failing and when things are starting to get a little bit challenging for you. I'm thinking about keeping that weight evenly distributed on those feet. I don't want my weight in the front 2 points of the tripod. I don't want my knees coming in on those middle 2 points, and I don't want my weight too far in my heels. So I'm thinking about really gripping the floor with my toes being evenly distributed along that tripod. I also want to make sure here that my butt isn't sticking out. So I'm going to tuck the pelvis to have a nice neutral spine. I don't want to go too far. Once I'm here, I'm going to take my breath in, but I don't want to take my breath in and hold it at the top here. I want to take my breath in and then think about pushing out on my stomach to create that tension in my torso, my core, my trunk. So I'm taking my breath in, and then I'm going to slightly hinge back before I break at the knees. Go as low as you're comfortable, keeping the knees out, traced over the pinky toe the entire time throughout the movement. You always want to make sure that you're at least going to parallel. If you can't go to parallel, then we're working on the range of motion as low as you can go, keeping the knees in that proper position without losing yourself here. I don't want this to happen in the bottom of the squat. So I need to make sure that I'm able to maintain this form throughout the entire movement. When you take that breath in and you hold your breath on the way down, we want to remember to push the air out or expel the air out of your lungs on the way back up. So taking that breath in, tight core, and then I'm coming down, holding my breath, pushing my breath out as I come back up to the top. Do not be afraid of resting in between reps, being able to have that extra breath before you create a brace to go into the next rep. There is no rush. Take your time. Make sure every single rep is performed with good form. Again, you just want to be able to make sure that the core stays tight, chest stays up, nice neutral spine, knees traced out, weight evenly distributed along those feet. Don't overthink it. Of course, it's gonna feel challenging. But if the movement feels good, you're probably in that correct form. If the movement does not feel good, there's probably something going on. Take videos of yourself, see what's happening, look at your feet, look at your knees, pay attention if you wanna sway to any which side. What does the upper body look like? We can go really into depth about how to squat, and creating a very general video is hard because everyone is individual. Each person who goes into the squat is going to have maybe some similar breakdowns, maybe some similar areas where their form wants to break down first, but everyone is very individual, so you need to learn where you break down in your squat, and then you can decide and move on from there. We all come with our own set of imbalances and weaknesses and strengths within the body. It's up to you to decide and determine what they are and how to work and improve on them from there. If you like videos like this and you want to see more movement-based videos, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button and let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye.